Hello and good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present. And our top stories in the news tonight: UPND accused the DPP of frustrating the fight against corruption. A consortium of CSO'S opposed the IMF bailout package for Zambia. Government investigating 3 more suspected cholera cases in Lusaka. In international news, Botswana detects new coronavirus variant. In sports news, ABSA Cup final moved to April 30, 2022. Hello once again, another news in detail. Mtendere residents have implored members of the public to take cholera vaccination seriously, especially with the revelations of a case being recorded within the area. In an interview with Camnet News, Catherine Mutale says if left unchecked, the disease may spread to uncontrollable levels. And speaking at Mtendere Clinic when receiving a donation of liquid chlorine from Pharmanova, Director of Health Promotions, Dr. Abel Caballo, says Zambia is on the right path towards eliminating cholera by 2025. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health is still investigating 3 suspected cholera cases in Lusaka. More in the following report.
One case of cholera recorded in Lusaka's Mtendere township involving a 3-year-old has revived the fight against cholera, which has not been recorded for at least 2 years.
That we have admitted to Kalingalinga Clinic a 3-year-old girl with cholera today.
Zambia has been inoculating cholera vaccines with reluctancy from members of the public. And of course, overtaken by the COVID-19 outbreak, the process almost died a natural death. However, residents of Mtendere feel people should take charge of their lives by taking the vaccine, among other preventive measures such as observing high levels of hygiene. The residents were speaking on the sidelines of a donation of chlorine by Pharmanova at Mtendere Clinic Tuesday.
Taking my vaccines in my health facilities because in taking my vaccines, at least my chances young kala na Korea zankala ko slim. Zekona bantu nenangu si bangaende ko kuma health facilities so that can be vaccinated against cholera because cholera is a deadly disease.
And Pharmanova representative John Chinko says the private sector has a huge role to play in fighting disease outbreaks such as cholera, pledging the company's support towards government.
Against bacteria and the viruses that causes diarrhea diseases. It's easy to use and it's widely used. It has resistance.
Meanwhile, Ministry of Health Director of Health Promotions Dr. Abel Caballo says despite this one case of cholera being recorded, among other 3 suspected being investigated, Zambia has a higher livelihood eliminating cholera by the year 2025.
Our disease security, our public health security is yet again threatened following the confirmation of 1 case of cholera and 3 other probable cases. It is with sincere appreciation that today we receive a gift from Famanova to immediately control and prevent further spread of cholera and other diarrheal diseases in our vicinity.
On 11th April 2022, a 3-year-old girl of Mtendere was admitted for cholera to Kalingalinga Clinic and is described to be in a stable condition. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Fight Inequality Alliance Zambia, a consortium of civil society organizations, has appealed to the Zambian government to rescind its decision of getting an International Monetary Fund (IMF) bailout package. Speaking to the media Tuesday, Alliance member Jenny Ricks says the IMF package comes with difficult conditionalities which will negatively affect the majority of Zambians, especially the poor. And Alliance partner Grieve Chelwa says it is not too late for the Zambian government to consider other alternative financing options that can be pursued other than the IMF, which comes with difficult conditionalities. More in this report.
The IMF is the driver, economic slavery. The IMF is the driver.
The relationship between Zambia and the International Monetary Fund (IMF) is not new, but dates back to as far as 1973 when Zambia adopted its first IMF-supported program, which was later abandoned by Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. The Zambian government attempted another IMF package in 1992 during the time of the second President Frederick Chiluba, which saw the birth of privatization. The Fight Inequality Alliance Zambia, a consortium of civil society organizations, has however appealed to the Zambian government under the UPND administration to consider not getting the IMF bailout package, saying the conditionalities of the package will immensely affect the majority of poor Zambian people.
Oxfam recently did a study of all the loans that the IMF have given during the COVID-19 pandemic, when many countries have gone to the IMF to borrow. And 85% of those loans have austerity measures attached to them. And that's pain that is coming down the track for many countries across Africa and more broadly. And we have to believe and we have to know that Zambia doesn't have to go down that path. It's not inevitable.
The alliance, which has launched a paper on the options for equitable economic growth and development in Zambia, says it is not too late for the Zambian government to consider other financing mechanisms rather than the IMF, which comes with tough conditions.
False alternative. It's a false choice. Why are we making that kind of trade-off? Right? You could do the choices differently. You could have free education. You could hire nurses, you could hire teachers, at the same time subsidize fuel. You just make different choices. Economic policy is not a science as most people like to make it out to be. It's just choice making.
The alliance has since provided the government with other financing options, among them to appoint an independent team to negotiate with the creditors or consider buying off the debt and later cancel it.
Don't know what we're agreeing to. I mean, this is bizarre. For an organization that claims that it has reformed, why are they hiding the conditions? If you've reformed, I'm sure there's sweet conditions in there, so share them with us. But they're hiding them. They're hiding them for a reason. So your guess is as good as mine as to why they're hiding them.
And activist Michael Zulu has added his voice to the IMF bailout package.
Me, I find it very disturbing. Disturbing in the sense that we are creating a godlike structure in the name of IMF. This is why it's important that civil society does not go to sleep now. Because the voices that we were hearing pre-election have gone to bed. And it's very worrying, comrades.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A group of bus drivers from Lusaka's Kulima Tower bus station have called for a change of police personnel at the bus station, alleging that they are working together with alleged United Party for National Development UPND members who took over the bus station office after the change of government to harass perceived Patriotic Front members. In an interview, 11 of the bus drivers who have just been released from Lusaka Remand Prison following a wrangle with the said group have called on the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to go on a fact-finding mission at the bus station. They allege that despite collectively contributing about 15,000 kwacha per day towards a money-saving scheme, Locally known as Chilimba, the drivers say they hardly benefit from the same as the money is handled by the said office. More in this report.
Bus stations in Zambia are one of the public facilities that are known for wrangles due to alleged politicization of the same. Since the change of administration in 2021 from the Patriotic Front PF to the United Party for National Development UPND, reports of internal wrangles at the bus stations have not come to an end. While the UPND administration has made it clear that it will not allow cadarism at such facilities, some bus drivers say it is only when bus station management will be selected through an election that the same will come to an end. A group of bus drivers at Lusaka's Kulima Tower bus station alleged that a group of UPND members took over the bus station office after the loss of the PF and are now allegedly working with the police at the bus station to harass perceived PF members. They allege that the harassment is done through misappropriation of funds for a local money saving scheme known as Chilimba, which amounts to about 15,000 kwacha per day, adding that confronting the said bus station management on the same has landed them 6 days in Lusaka's remand prison, where they've just been released.
Conduct into mwaya karikawa na babe ni 6 days twali kwatana bakashikumayanda abana to balali yashana kwali banabaka nabaya kuma skulu ama transport shara makwesendara olifendara matwa tubomba ngamwabomba mwakashikisha sharaport ostwali shitina mwabaka chief yakoti
but balianga bafika baona lebo mu kulima tawa balafikirira kuri bali abalwani abasende ndalama so uli omuntu lesende ndalama tabebe fintu ifile chitika pa ground enala bebe fintu ifisuma wae walesende shile ndalama so nangulanga chakwati baona lebo gadi nkombo balefo kwisa palima tawa lekeni bakese facing ama individual drivers not bali abantu aba bapokerera then bakese munefitika palima tawa
stiba pisha but then tifuna ni my elections waje abantu basiana ma driver because system yayamba waononga chipani mundu dali driver 7 but abolo mpenda ati akafunza ochengani ya ndrama ampenda uti noni wa PF as a result manje like mwetenzele life tenzi now la maseos.
So what we are demanding for with immediate effect of complaint in many police stations, even in police posts, Madam Mboloma should actually go. Mr. Chileshe, CIO, way back in PF, they should actually go. They should bring us people who are going to bring us peace there. Bus drivers, they are going to speak for themselves. All they want is elections. I'm not a bus driver. I cannot take part and parcel of the election there. They know each other. Each route, they must be allowed to choose their own leader who they think he can actually execute their demands.
Meanwhile, Kulima Tower bus station management is on record denying the claims. In response to the situation, UPND Deputy National Youth Chairperson Mr. Trevor Mwinde says the allegations will be looked into.
We don't want anybody to destabilize them and frustrate their efforts to making sure that they also earn a living out of what they are doing. So bus drivers, your issues are in very firm hands, and we are willing as a ruling party youth leadership. We want to make sure that we come and discuss this and find a lasting solution. We know that there are people that are overzealous and excited, and we call upon the investigative wings of government to also help us and engage us, involve us, whenever they are trying to sort out these problems of bus stations.
The aggrieved bus drivers have called on Minister of Local Government and Road Development, Mr. Garin Kombo, to visit the bus station. Zipora Mchala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, in Lusaka province has challenged the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, Lilian Siyuni, to resign from her position on moral grounds. Speaking during a press briefing held in Lusaka, UPND Lusaka Province Chairperson Obvious Maliteta accuses the DPP of frustrating government's fight against corruption. Mr. Maliteta alleges that she has never entered a nolle in cases involving UPND members who were wrongly arrested, but has been doing so on cases involving PF officials. More in this report.
The United Party for National Development Administration, since taking over office, has waged a fight against corruption, which has seen many casualties being those who served under the Patriotic Front administration, although no prominent convictions have been secured so far, and that is another issue that is putting the corruption fight under scrutiny. Last week, the Lusaka Magistrate Court discontinued court proceedings against former Konkola Copper Mines provisional liquidator Milingo Lungu, who was accused of theft involving 4.4 million kwacha, a matter that raised concerns from sections of society. But in a dramatic turn of event, the Drug Enforcement Commission (DEC) rearrested Milingo Lungu. Tuesday, 12 April 2022, during a press briefing in Lusaka, United Party for National Development (UPND) Lusaka Province Chairman Obvious Mwaliteta challenged the Director of Public Prosecution (DPP) Lilian Siyuni to resign from her position on moral ground for allegedly frustrating government's efforts to fight corruption. Mr. Mwaliteta says all prosecutors at the National Prosecution Authority must be replaced.
Who is Milingo? How important is Milingo to this country? If you, DPP, do not see anything wrong, in that case your colleagues have seen there's something wrong, let them go ahead and prosecute Milingo. Don't interfere. Don't interfere. Don't interfere. So colleagues, that is our stand as Lusaka province. We demand that the DPP has to leave. And any other office bearer in the ministries should leave, as long as they are PF cadres or their allegiances still with PF. They should leave, because we told the Zambian people that as a new Dawn government, we committed ourselves to them. We don't want any help from PF. We don't want any help from PF to rule this country. We are capable.
Meanwhile, he has advised the public service workers with allegiance to the former ruling party, the Patriotic Front, to resign on their own.
To get rid of that cartel. We want to get rid of that cartel, because we answerable to Zambian people as new Dawn government. If we are not going to fight this corruption, if we are not going to fight this corruption, if we are going to allow people to frustrate the fight against corruption, which we praised to the Zambian people when we formed government to fight this corruption, then we are doomed. And we are not going to allow anyone to stand our way on this fight of corruption. We are not going to allow that. Stop frustrating HH, let him work. Other people, they are telling us, no, stop telling us about PF. We know what PF has done, so just wait. How can we stop talking about the root cause of our problems?
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
UPND Secretary General Batuke Imenda has advised politicians to work at ensuring the sustenance of national peace by contributing towards economic and social growth. Mr. Imenda says the country has several challenges that deserve collaboration from all stakeholders, including political players, if they are to be overcome. He advised political arm critics to concentrate on national economic and social building and criticized for the sake of remaining relevant politically. The UPND Secretary General was speaking in Mongu ahead of the Mongu mayoral elections slated for the 14th of April 2022. More in this report.
The United Party for National Development UPND administration has come strong on promoting democracy through the upholding of the rule of law. Since being voted into office on 12 August 2021, the UPND administration has emphasized that it will give room to the police and investigative wings to work independently and that no one will be arrested on political grounds. However, UPND Secretary General Mr. Batuke Imenda says he is of the view that named individuals have embarked on a mission of testing the commitment of the UPND on these pronouncements by taking to various platforms to bring the name of the party and president into disrepute. Mr. Imenda was speaking in Mongu on Tuesday.
In the past, people were used to hearing people like someone in my position as Secretary General giving orders to police, go and arrest that one, go and harass that one, go and do this. If you play with me, you can be fired. That is the kind of life that we were used to seeing in the last 10 years. They cannot believe that this country can run in a manner where a policeman makes an independent decision. So my advice to them is that let peace prevail. There are a lot of issues that are about to be debated. Issues of our economy, social order, governance should be debated freely without evoking violence, without creating unnecessary anxiety in the country, coming out with dangerous, provoking statements. So these people that are now seeing peace for the first time, order for the first time, are behaving in such a way that they behave as if they want to try and see, trying to challenge the authority. Let me sound SG Menda and let me see what's going to happen. So let me call President Hakainde Hichilema names and let me see what's going to happen.
Meanwhile, in another development, UPND Deputy National Youth Spokesperson Mr. Phineas Pumulo has dismissed allegations that the party is using government vehicles in the Mongu mayoral by-election campaigns.
Make it very clear that at no point have we used government vehicles during these by-elections. In all the words in which we have been going around campaigning,
the party is in Mongu to drum up support for its candidates ahead of the election slated for 14th April 2022. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News.
Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has assured traditional leaders in the country that his administration will not interfere in the selection process of chiefs. President Hichilema, who paid a courtesy call on Paramount Chief Chitimkulu at his palace Tuesday morning, says government will continue respecting traditional leaders and the role they play in national development. Meanwhile, Chief Chitimkulu has advised President Hichilema not to pay attention to those who criticize him, but focus on developing the nation inclusively.
The government is committed to work with the people of Zanzibar. Zambia choice. We want to be equitous to the people, all of the people. We want to reunite this country, on the basis, on the platform of unity. We can accelerate, we touch the challenges to Zambia. That's why we first decided, knowing you as a leader, as a historian, as a writer, education, and number one on the road towards development.
We should respect the office of the president, whoever is there, is the best citizen. Now, when they are talking about recognition, they don't know that members of the West type of vulgar language, which can be used to a president issue. So I think those there is just too much freedom or something, I don't want to use the word. But Mr. President, just we have been meet together and known each other for so many years, there were some instructions in crucial.
The New Heritage Party has urged government to work towards achieving a gross domestic product (GDP) growth rate of not less than 6 to 8% annually. Addressing the media, party president Chishala Kateka says the aforementioned growth rate is what the country needs to achieve in order to restore the economic productivity lost. She emphasizes on the need for the formulation of strategies and policies to address the current economic status. Meanwhile, Ms. Kateka has expressed with concern that the Bank of Zambia's monetary policy approach of focusing on inflation while ignoring the real economic variables that affect citizens on the ground is the major issue. She has noted that failure to address the cost of living of Zambians will cost this government dearly.
The key question that the government should have asked itself is, what do we need to do in order to achieve a GDP growth rate of not less than 6 to 8% consistently year on year? What is it that we need to do? This growth rate is, in our estimate, the growth rate that we as a country need to achieve in order to restore the economic productivity that has been lost and the per capita GDP after adding 4 million plus people since 2013. With a target growth rate, a formulation of strategies and policies around where we want the country to be should then have been crafted. Variables that affect citizens on the ground is the real elephant in the room. Failure to address the cost of living of Zambians will cost this government or this party in government very, very, very dearly. I cannot overemphasize that.
This is Camnet TV Main News. We take a break. We'll be back with more news after this break.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the...
She has so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow! Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Savenda. Save nations, develop Africa. Connecting African countries to each other and connecting the African continent to the world. This logistics and global supply chain management group offers end-to-end solutions across all sectors of the economy: agriculture, energy, telecommunications, finance, construction, transportation, and insurance. And now, its initiatives are greener than ever, operating in line with government guidelines and working to provide energy security for Zambia and beyond. 25 companies united under one group and one vision. Savenda, trade and logistics made easy.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Rufunsa District Commissioner Richard Mabena has called for sanity in the Kaombo mining site if development is to be enhanced in the area. Speaking when he addressed pit owners and miners who have confiscated mining vehicles for Infinity Mining Limited for non-payment for the gold worth over 1.7 million kwacha supplied, Mr. Mabena called on the miners to be calm as Infinity Mining Limited has promised to pay them within this week. Infinity Mining Limited Director Jabir Patel apologized for the delay and assured that his company is committed to ensuring that locals benefit from the resources in the area. Infinity Mining Limited is owing local gold pit owners over 1.7 million kwacha, forcing the miners to impound the mining vehicles.
These are gold miners of Kaombo mining area in Rufunsa district who have impounded some mining equipment from Infinity Mining Limited for non-payment of over 1.7 million kwacha for the gold they supplied to the company, and have threatened to chase the company director from the area. Rufunsa District Commissioner Richard Mabena, who rushed to the area, called for sanity in the mining area and said government is committed to promoting mining in the country to ensure that it is done in a sustainable manner.
These are some of the vehicles which have been taken by the aggrieved people, the miners. Many pempani chingati, one thing, pasapezeke kuti vija vintu vonongeke. Mwamvera hii? Da because makaononga ishapo vameta manga kuja ishapo senza bwe.
Infinity Mining Limited Director Jabi Patel says the company is committed to working with community gold miners and to ensure that they are paid their money within this week.
We can harmonize and be an example for the rest of Zambia so that all mining companies actually can be tabulated in law so that our Zambian people, our local Zambian people who are the actual owners of the resources should start benefiting first.
Mr. Mabena further called for peace in the mining area if development is to be achieved.
Quarrel, we need peace. The moment when there's development, if we start quarreling, we can't achieve the development. Desired goal.
Reporting in Rufunsa District, I am Msekiwa Ntembe.
Munali constituency Member of Parliament Mike Mposha has urged the people of Chainda Ward 33 to take advantage of the many opportunities provided for in various empowerment programs under the New Dawn administration. Speaking during a familiarization tour in Chainda compound Tuesday, Mr. Mposha stressed that the current Constituency Development Fund CDF comes as a relief to the community members. Therefore, people must apply themselves in taking part. At the same engagement, community members have proposed projects that can be embarked on by the ward in response to many challenges the local people are facing, ranging from water supply to high crime rate in the community. More in this report.
During a familiarization tour in Lusaka's Chainda compound, Munali constituency Member of Parliament Mike Mposha has urged the people of Chainda Ward 33 to actively participate in the development agenda under the current administration. Mr. Mposha has seized this opportunity to sensitize the people on the number of programs that government has embarked on to better the lives of these people.
Pasako next group, mumbesesa. Siri monga zija zamene zakaloba zauti mwenda panyumba muntu mwendo tenga kaloba mbokupoka ni katundu iyebe si kulibe kuonjezerapo kulibe interest. Siri monga ku banki auti mkatenga loan ku banki wakuchajingani interest kulibe interest. Kwa matifuna chilungamo accountability. Sindalama zakuti mkatenga mwagavana mazulo chalira ni ndalama zakuti zitandizire muyangane muchitaka business kama mtundu bwanji tikutandizeni pali kajaka business mkapangapo ka profit mubweza kwa every month pangono mpaka ijane muna kongola ya sira business yanu yaenda pamwamba.
Members of the community made their submission of challenges they are currently facing in the ward.
Boma itiyanganepo kutiti zibe mameti zafunika kumangira tibwerere kumbali ya kliniki yatu tionga zikomo lero isebenza 24 hours koma tikayangana ni ngono
ngatigulireko track tabelenga tandizire kuchosa vinyala mkomboni.
Polisi muno mchainda mwatu ndatafutika maningi na kawalala kitapa manzi 02 so angatipa ya kawaya please.
That this government will look into the plight of the youth. Many youth in Chainda are involved in things that are very destructive like drugs. They are not productive. There are no lots of productive youth in Chainda.
Mr. Mposha, who is also the Minister of Water and Sanitation, has assured the residents of Chainda compound with 5 boreholes to be donated in his capacity so as to improve the water supply in the compound.
Then we'll drill the boreholes and put dotted boreholes. So I want to do about 5 boreholes in Chainda, not only under CDF, but also on my own as Member of Parliament. I undertook.
The Member of Parliament was hosted by the Ward Development Committee and the Area Councillor. The people of Chainda compound were elated at the visit and hope for more frequent engagements with their area Member of Parliament going forward. Alex Shimba, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Lusaka Magistrate Fides Hamaundu has declined to refer to the Lusaka High Court a case in which PF embattled Kabushi Member of Parliament Bowman Lusambo and his wife are accused of corrupt acquisition of properties reasonably suspected of being proceeds of crime. When the matter came up for ruling on the application on whether to refer the case or not, Lusaka Magistrate Fides Hamaundu ruled that the application lacks merit. Meanwhile, Mr. Lusambo failed to appear before court on grounds that he has been exposed to COVID-19. Last week, the couple wanted the case to be referred to the High Court so that it can determine if the decision to try them before the Specialized Economic Financial Crimes Court is discriminatory. More in this report.
Embattled Kavushi constituency Member of Parliament Bowman Lusambo failed to appear Tuesday morning before court in a case he's jointly charged with his wife for corrupt acquiring properties reasonably suspected of being proceeds of crime on ground that he has been exposed to COVID-19. Mr. Lusambo was scheduled this morning to appear before Lusaka Magistrate Fides Amahundu, who is presiding over the Economic Financial Crimes Court, for a ruling. However, only his wife, Nancy Lusambo, attended. The court was informed that the former Lusaka Province Minister was exposed to COVID-19, hence unable to make it for the court session. Earlier, when the case came up for ruling on the application made in the last court session, Magistrate Hamahundu declined to refer to the High Court their alleged corrupt case on account that the application lacks merit. Last week, lawyers representing the duo applied that the case the couple is facing be referred to the High Court so as to determine if the decision to try them before the Specialized Economic and Financial Crimes Court is discriminatory. This is in a case in which Mr. Lusambo and his wife are facing 10 counts of possessing of property suspected of being proceeds of crime, conspiracy to defraud, and tax evasion charges that they have denied. They are expected to appear before court on the 17th of May 2022 for commencement of trial. Miriam Kemba reporting for Camnet TV News.
A magistrate court in Lusaka Tuesday adjourned the case in which former Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Dr. Kennedy Malama and 5 others are accused of failing to follow procedure in the procurement of 50 ambulances on grounds that one of the accused persons is ill. When the matter came up before Magistrate Sanford Ngobola for possible plea and commencement, the court was informed that the matter could not proceed as one of the accused, a diplomat, is unwell. This is in a case in which Dr. Malama has been charged with 3 diplomats, a farmer and a procurement officer under the Ministry of Mines with 2 counts of willful failure to comply with applicable law and procedure, contrary to Section 34, Cap 2 and Cap B of the Anti-Corruption Act No. 3 of 2013. More in this report.
The one case of alleged failure to comply with applicable procedure in the procurement of 50 ambulances at the Ministry of Health against former Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Kenneth Malama, and 5 others received an early adjournment because one of the accused is reported to be unwell. Dr. Malama and his 5 co-accused are on bond facing 2 charges of willful failure to comply with applicable law and procedure contrary to the Anti-Corruption Act. The charges arose from the investigations conducted by the Law Enforcement Agency last year. When the matter came up before Lusaka Magistrate Sanford Ngobola, who is presiding over the Economic Financial Crimes Court, he was informed that one of the accused, a diplomat, is unwell and unable to attend court session, a situation that forced the magistrate to adjourn the case to a later date for possible plea and commencement of trial. Dr. Malama has been jointly charged with Dr. Francis Walia, a diplomat based in Switzerland, Dr. Mzaza, a diplomat based in China, Dr. Maximilian Weupe, a diplomat at the Zambian Embassy in Washington, Rebecca Njovu, a retiree, and Wilson Lungu, a chief procurement officer under the Ministry of Mines. The 2 offenses the state accuses them of is contrary to Section 34 2B of the Anti-Corruption Act No. 3 of 2012. Allegations in the first count is that Dr. Malama, at the time he was the Permanent Secretary for Administration between August 1, 2017 and December 31, 2018, failed to comply with applicable procedure or guidelines relating to the procurement by terminating contracts number MOH/ORD/004/15 between the Ministry of Health and Savenda Management Services Limited for the supply and delivery of 50 basic life support ambulances, supply and delivery of major support spare parts for the ambulances and training of personnel. In the second count, all the 6 are jointly charged and are alleged to have on January 1, 2017 and December 31, 2017, being persons employed in the Ministry of Health, jointly and whilst acting together, failed to comply with applicable procedure relating to procurement by approving MCP paper number 131 of 2017. According to the charge sheet, the paper recommended the use of Limited Bidding International as the appropriate method of procurement of 50 ambulances without providing justifications or reason in the said paper for use or choice of the method of procurement. The matter has since been adjourned to the 4th of May, 2022. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Lusaka High Court Judge Susan Wanjalani has subpoenaed Drug Enforcement Commission Director General Mary Chirwa before court to give evidence on behalf of former President Edgar Lungu's associate Vauden Findlay in a case in which he has sued government seeking a declaratory order that DEC unfreezes all his bank accounts. According to summons, Judge Wanjalani has directed Ms. Chirwa to appear before her on the 22nd of April 2022 to testify and also produce the Anti-Money Laundering Unit investigation report on the payments Mr. Findlay's company is alleged to have received from the Ministry of Finance. In this case, Mr. Findlay, a businessman, and his wife Desislava and his 4 companies have petitioned the government in the High Court for seizing their accounts on the pretext that he is a crook, committed fraud among various financial crimes. In the previous submissions, the Attorney General told the court that Mr. Findlay, between 1st December 2016 and 17th August 2021, illegally received more than 300 million kwacha from the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Justice. This is Camnet Television News. We take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of Savenda Electronics.
At Savenda Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, Savenda Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. Savenda Electronics provides on and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Welcome back. And now, in international news, Italy's Prime Minister signs deal for more gas from Algeria in a bid to reduce reliance on Russia. Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi has secured a deal for more natural gas imports across a Mediterranean pipeline from Algeria. It's the latest push by a European Union nation to reduce dependence on Russian energy following its invasion of Ukraine. Russia is Italy's biggest supplier of natural gas, representing 40% of total imports, followed by Algeria, which provides some 21 billion cubic meters of gas via the Trans-Mediterranean pipeline. After meeting with President Abdelmadjid Tebboune, Draghi said that an agreement to intensify bilateral cooperation in the energy sector, along with a deal to export more gas to Italy is significant for the strategic goal of quickly replacing Russian energy. Africa News has more.
A new variant of COVID-19 has been discovered in Botswana. It's believed to be a mutation of the Omicron variant first detected in southern Africa late last year. The variant they're watching, called Omicron BA.4 and BA.5, has already been detected in 3 other countries and on 4 people in Botswana. All 4 cases are currently being followed up to gather more information on the potential impact on the spread and the severity of the disease. The discovery of the Omicron variant in South Africa and Botswana triggered a travel ban to and from South Africa by most Western countries. The Ministry of Health says it's awaiting further guidance from the World Health Organization on how to manage its transmission. Investigations are underway to determine whether existing COVID-19 vaccines are effective against the new variant. But it's urging the public not to panic and instead to be vigilant and take a vaccination or booster shot if eligible.
Malian armed forces and national guards will no longer be trained by the European Union mission. That's what EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell said on Monday. After chairing a meeting of the bloc's foreign ministers, he cited recent developments in the Sahelian country to explain the move. There were not sufficient guarantees on non-interference by the Wagner Group, Borrell said. France and other countries claim Russian Wagner Group is operating in Mali as an armed force, which Mali and Russia have denied. The trainings provided by the EU were part of efforts aimed at strengthening Mali's troops as they fight a jihadist insurgency. Starting in 2013, the European Union hired hundreds of soldiers and experts who were involved in 2 training missions. Paris in February announced the withdrawal of its troops from Mali after a breakdown in relations with the country's authorities.
During his visit to Algeria, Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi stepped up efforts to reduce his country's heavy reliance on Russian gas. Rome is hoping its second biggest supplier, Algeria, can boost its sales in order to reduce the dependence after the war in Ukraine sparked a push for sanctions against Moscow. Mr. Draghi said immediately after the invasion of Ukraine, he announced that Italy would move with utmost speed to reduce dependence from Russian gas. He added that the 2 governments signed a declaration of intent on bilateral cooperation in the energy sector. On top of this, there's an agreement between Eni and Sonatrach to increase the export of gas to Italy. Algerian gas accounts for about 11% of Europe's gas imports. In February, Sonatrach said it was ready to increase gas supplies to Europe, notably via the Transmed pipeline linking Algeria to Italy.
Let's now have some sports news. In sports news, the Football Association of Zambia, in conjunction with ABSA Bank Zambia Limited, wishes to inform all stakeholders that the 2022 ABSA Cup final between Red Arrows and ABSA Stars has been moved to April 30, 2022. FAS General Secretary Adrian Kashala says the venue for the match that was initially set for April 16, 2022 remains at National Heroes Stadium. Mr. Kashala says following consultations with the sponsor and other stakeholders, Members of the public must be aware that the much anticipated ABSA Cup final will take place on the 30th of April 2022. FAZ is confident that the 2022 ABSA Cup final will be the biggest ever. To end Camnet TV main news, the headlines once again. UPND accused DPP of frustrating the fight against corruption. A consortium of CSO'S opposed the IMF bailout package for Zambia. Government investigating 3 more suspected cholera cases in Lusaka. In international news, Botswana detects new coronavirus variant. In sports news, ABSA Cup final moved to April 30, 2022. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from John 13, verse 34. I give you a new command, love one another just as I have loved you. You must also love one another. Thank you for watching the news. My name is Jeffrey Zembo, and have a good night.